Game time!
The following is the beautifully remastered version of Apple Bloom Gets Her Cutie Mark. Enjoy this brand new experience with one of your favorite muffin stories. All the same beloved characters with a bright and refreshing upgrade. Now with high-definition audio and state-of-the-art 3D graphics. All weapons and torture items have been replaced with walkie-talkies. Thank you for listening. Hijacked! 2! Apple Bloom's wheeled, running up to our sister, who is bucking apples. What is it, Apple Bloom? Applejack Aston will be determined. The most me just happy, Apple in reply, hopping up and down. Just up! Apple Bloom, I'm sorta busy. You her book it! Applejack grasped tender basket of apples from inside. Ah, rack. Where we don't? She asked the fairy. Sure he'll conquer, Apple Bloom said, trying to have her sister Doreen. Applejack round, her heart giving an unpleasant jerk. Pinkie Pie's sisters with there. He passed there, right? She asked quickly. Yeah, who has a surprise? 'Ten you'll just tell me what's going on. Couplin turned Applejack impatiently. Fanny wouldn't be used has 138. Huh! Applejack freed after Apple Bloom, anxious to see what all the fuss was about. The Japanese game should be Chief Corner, which was completely empty inside. Not even Mr. and Mrs. Take Me there. In fact, noticing that the lights were off, Applejack assumed the entire bakery had been closed. But money? What's going on? Applejack asked softly, as if afraid she disturbed something. Apple Bloom eyed here behind the corner, opening a very well he did not come to the floor for. Applejack saw that there was a button, and Apple impressed it with their homes, making a door swing right under the law. You have blended in so well, Applejack was startled when she saw. She mattered. Well on! Apple's winners badly, and her down the stairs at the secret tower. Applejack smaller, closing the door behind her, and slowly descended into pitch-black darkness. Who? She has nervously. Apple Bloom, I can't see anything. Applejack was interrupted by a very hard blow to the head. She collapsed to the floor. When Applejack finally managed to come around, she saw that it was no longer dark in the celling. It was done, but light enough for her to see the room around here. Became immediately clear to her that something was wrong. The entire place was decorated with party decorations, the kind Pinkie Pie would normally put out, but they didn't look right. They were dark and covered in some sort of crusty grime. She also noticed school's attorneys. So many ponies. Who's listier? Applejack said weakly, noticing the shapes and sizes in schools. There were holes, mares, stallions, and a single one with the beach. It was thus Colin McRae. In the few? To recap, sang a familiar, jubilant voice. The pink pony found it in front of Applejack excitedly, wearing a party hat that looked as though it was made out of pony hide, as well as a screen dress. Pinkie Pie high! Applejack croaked urgently, making the move, but cried out in excruciating agony. She looked at herself, in new shoes walkie-talkied down. However, the walkie-talkies were holding her limbs. They were going through them. Applejack couldn't move without triggering another job hem to her arms and legs. Along with the ones staring at her muscles and bones, there are also teens strapped over her hips and neck, and she was very glad that those words penetrating her body. The new Just and more ponies emerged from the darkness, all wearing party hats similar to Pinkie Pie's. Where the gas, Applejack's on the other three My Sisters, Derby and Apple Bloom. She suddenly noticed that all 6 of them were wearing peculiar articles of clothing. Pinkie Pie's dress was meter-stitched up cutie marks, necklace that unicorn horns, and on her back were many different colors of Pegasus wings. Derby had a rather long scarf wrapped around her neck, and Eat too was composed of cutie marks. EPI had an attractive little rest, also made from TJ Maxx, as well as Brinkeep Mai's shirt and skirt. Even more marks created socks for Mihai. And Apple Bloom? Enable it? Applejack explains, saying that her little sister was wearing it a trend that was stitched together like the other pony's clothing, but in addition, there was a brand new bow in her mani to match. It was a terrifying sight, and it didn't hurt so much, Applejack would have been struggling to free herself. "Ah!" said Up Alive happily, copping her front hooves on the floor in excitement. "Let's go now on," Applejack 1/3.
I had a bit for every time I heard that,
sitting Deep Eye softly, and the others last. "Apple Bloom said you were lying astonished money through MoneyGram," Centerby, lettering closer and landing next your Mary. "So we said we used walkie-talkies damaged Japanese. Apple Bloom said you'd still so me I thought, looks great, thank you, I'm right. 2 whacks, Pinkie Pie added. Apple Bloom let dumping Applejack's stack, placing it on her own hand. "He did not now," she giggled. "You won't be need me." "Sugar Cube, please tell me what's happening. Why on me she not like this?" Applejack greeted. "This," said Pinkie Pie to monitor sisters. "To show me caged off, drinking." She giggled, and Applejack's signs whines. "Remo test?" she shouted, but her astonished expression turned a corner, and she immediately started sobbing when she saw one of her best friends, the cases that had been missing for months, taxidermy right before her eyes. They were still bloodstains in the park. "Aunt Jackie, our happy last year you!" Right, Pinkie, grabbing the stuffed pony and turning it to face her chair, my friends. "What teach you took her?" she member, almost too upset to get the words out. "Hijacked," said Apple inside me as Pinkie Pie star ballroom dancing with Rainbow Dash. "Yahoo one lacking he passed cupcakes tasted so good. Has really been hurting Alita Satin HK man. And then we started baking other stuff," Centerby happening. "I really yummy economy out. You tell me that all this time you've been making cupcakes at 'em all our friends?" Applejack shouted, finding her confidence again. The feeling I'm rage drowning out had feared. "Aye," said Pinkie Pie. "Panic to get, seeking the ponytail, honey meantime my press eye, making honey thinking Yahi joined us." "Cavallo, go into question did you get into this mess?" Applejack explained that innocent-looking system. "The story, actually," Affable in reply. "Yes, me. Round 1-2 years in jail. Caffeine May 1-5 keypad riding unconscious Terry in the high sugar he carny." "I'm very discreet back," Pinkie admitted with a giggle. "Silent," personally continue, "and saw her pulling him into a hologram. The tour of madness here makes me, but later on, we feel the fact that occurs me now back to life. Him, I would be happy in the whole month of Ashraf not guaranteed table. Partly you now, she found me, nearest car crash. Her what she was doing, but thank you says she didn't want to be treated me for being a witness, and I'm not scared. I was so young back then, too baby understand why she was doing. But when I told her I wouldn't be upset, she explained every day. BT would tell me how her and her sisters make cupcakes a neighbor nearly, and making them back her special ingredient list other companies," Apple Bloom went on. "How much greater scared at first. Scary and woke up, and people started showing me what she keep. Dunno why, let estimated me so much. Time to start I ran want to hear. I didn't think I'd be any good, crash aircrew math background. Maybe I get my cutie mark this way. Human being too perhaps not me how to plan to make the cupcakes, got nothing. Still I figured, made Mac UK Markley supposed to be some house. I keep trying now, keep hoping sat down here will happen battle I may get me mad cutie mark. It's too bad you want beer and to see it can stay." "Hey Balloon, this is wrapped!" Applejack shouted, when thing as a slight movement time gonna change that. "You know what you're doing, Rack? Your channel and polity. Europe her. Can't believe it's been you guys how long? Island country gone missing? This apparent?" "Yeah, you do you think I'm," said Pinkie Pie with a wicked smile. "Everybody you Pete, and thank you program, aye." Applejack looked over at In-Tea, Green Tea, and Mean He. "And knew something just walked around about you three." She's back. Put all 3 sisters print equally.
Okay, good news. Louis last RBS?
Setting too high and sarcastic satins.
"Hakeem,
Me keep my Senator White voice.
he's thinking at
"Yeah, well I honestly want to be your friend, you sacco, but I get bad a happen and," snapped Applejack. She looks back at PT. "And you got a current demand sister, and Terpy too. I refuse to believe she understands what she's been doing." A very scary expression of anger flashed across Kirby's face, and she stepped forward. "I like here," she ground, "almost a sop this means that I'm." Always. You always with nicety me. Always say hello to me. I'm on least rates helping me when I apt reverence something. But you think therapy don't understand what Europeans did when? Well, Applejack, I don't understand so good rest some things. I understand what on ice cream is given. Derby is taking my campaigns, yet he's calming by making muffins from ponies. Derby and being happy went up her knees as screaming in pain.
Good Kirby,
Applejack member, who are 5. See! Derby Street, and Applejack flinched, yelping in pain as the walkie-talkies were talks by her jokes. Derby lifted herself into the air, glaring down at Applejack with malice. I hate it when ponies say I don't understand what I and gaily. D-knock Derby every time. I state their P.S. swell. I just don't understand so good night. I don't be so good. 90 I'm so good. You think so too, right? You think Darby is slaw out. Applejack couldn't respond, too frightened to even open her mouth. There be great for a few seconds, and then flew over to make you cry, landing next to her with a clatter up her hearse. Corrupted, mate? Said Applebloom finally, starting to pace in front of her sister. Don't think and needy corruption. I think this was all meant to happen. Everything happens for a reason, not? That's my I was the one who volunteered to take you when your number came up.
You volunteer?
Applejack exclaimed in disbelief. Dude, replied Applegram. One I've been a bond in, right? Me know how much I miss being a parent mean.
Pentagon explain this, Tabor pony, she shouted. They all know I'm a pick, just Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, pick 18 track 2 I'm looking palm a day, Bonke, Appleblance nude. Or any country else for that matter. Let me away before didn't you? I have to do is stop crashing and say you took out the bad explanation. And prep, you're done. Tears streamed down Applejack's eyes as they fell upon her dead friends, Rainbow Dash, Man her insane friend, Pinkie Pie, and finally her own sister, whom she loved and cared for. This sister that was going to take her life.
It will bloom, obeyed you, Applejack said softly, surprisingly calm. Don't go through with this. Backing out. Leave all this behind. A new one I can run away. Start our own apple farm in the country, never speaking this again. Applebloom frowned, her left giving a little trouble, and Applejack flashed loving smile. However, her smile well when the fillies start laughing.
Too late, you man, she snorted. You really bad Allison featuring. Oh, Jays, led the honest ones L.A. so Google.
Applejack couldn't help it. She began to sob, whimpering from the pain her man's, her heart filled with sorrow as your sister continued to laugh. He was in any kind black she had ever heard from Applebloom. It was wicked, frightening, and relations. She's such a good acting, Linky Eye could. The whole things was a senior, and now this. I'm jealous. Ablin smarts proudly, expressing her triumph with the light Hopkins. Cape Town, she said. The other ponies closed in on the torture table.
De Hardy!
Applejack looked to reach base quickly, and then took a deep breath. Guard! She screamed, but you heard his name. Keepers start tackling game.
But!
Pinkie Pie Google.
2 in the bombs! Seriously, each YouTube economy got?
Applejack on her hands and feet, still sighing, trying her best to keep still.
Iraq, Ablin explains. What should we do, girls, after I get your key markets? Like right track, Centerbee happily. IG acting, he squeaked, and Monkey Pie began rolling their tour card into their work area.
Piggy Pack, Applejack snickle. Please don't do this. I'm your branded.
Not that makes me okay, Pinkie Pie reply. Did not my Glassy and I have my sometime, me gassy.
She turned to the stuffed Rainbow Dash, and then get home.
A good night, Sydney morning.
Applejack let out man-reach streak, and despite the pain, she started struggling against the jeans. The room was full of snapping and ripping sounds, Applejack's arms and legs broken, as well as her screams of pain and very. She wanted to hurt Pinkie Pie, something she had never wanted to do.
Their peak right censoring. She's getting great.
She won't be able to stand the pain pretty much longer, he said without concern, a weakest mark on her face. No matter how angry sheens. Innkeep-I have been right. Even though Applejack's hatred hat-filled her adrenaline, pain in her lens was much too great. She found limb, noticing she no longer could move her arms and legs, where they were completely broken.
"Well, Bing," said Apple Bloom. "Certainly was a shell, Applejack. Now we get here quick dramatics. We're here to brighten."
Apple Bloom took the walkie-talkie off the table and walked over to our sister's right playing.
"That make you remember what it's like to be a blank blank."
She started slowly carving a circle around the 3 apples, Lot immediately using me incision. Applejack whimpering gasped in pain, but gritted her teeth to try in burying. Once she had detached one cutie mark, Apple Bloom proceeded to removing the other one. When she finished, she took perhaps her head, set it upside down on the table, and put both cutie marks inside. "Beautiful job, darling," explains Going Cutie, doing an impeccable impression a rarity.
"The black evening, Keepat,"
said Up a Lively happily. She turned back to register on Broken Sister.
"Well, we ain't got nothing yet."
"Cannot use my hair?" asked Derby, holding up a rescue walkie-talkie.
"Yeah, just be carried out use now,"
Apple in reply. She started feeling with rituals. Derby blew over and grabbed Applejack's ponytail in her mouth thing. She swung the walkie-talkie down, but missed the hair, slashing her she-can stand. Applejacky outs from the new source's me.
"Groupie did,"
Derby googled there a mouthful blonde mane.
"I'm no plan B. I guess I'm not so smart, hijacking."
Derby tried again, but only managed to slice the tibber the ponies I ran. Still sobbing, Applejack came to the conclusion that Derby was missing on purpose.
"Me," she said again. "I just got now at Rack Rom."
After third kind, Applejack's ponytail was severed, reading her mane much shorter. JB chapped her tail as an addendum.
"Space for me,"
Pinkie Pie crack, helping Applewill assemble an unknown something together.
"Ready would be proud,"
Apple Bloom added. Derby did a few blips in the air before returning to the floor to seat the other were doing. "Got some leftover walkie-talkies over here," said Linking High, holding one large walkie-talkie in HR. "What do you think?" "Those would make lovely earrings," Keep My reply. When he shot it over to Applejack, coming merry, and then carelessly shut the walkie-talkies into each miller. I was acting scream, but made a small squeak sounder she branched.
"She's already got a walkie-talkie collar around her neck,"
said Apple Bloom nopally.
"Not me. A cramp?"
She and Pain had managed to recover messy crown made of walkie-talkies tied together with twine. I Will Bloom handed Derby, who flew over and jammed it on Applejack's hat as hard as she could. A sharp scream echoed once again around the room.
"Spinelli walkie-talkies captain!"
I suggested, holding up a box of walkie-talkies.
"I get,"
Apple Bloom chirps. She took the box when the pink pony and a pressure system. Applejack watched the billy, her heart broken, wishing this was all just a nightmare. How could hurt innocent little Apple Bloom be so suggesting? Rebounds were torn away from the pain in her heart, replacement pain in her neck as walkie-talkies slowly pumped shooting. Probably mistaking the walkie-talkies to the walkie-talkies, pushing them right hablass accident, but was careful to avoid hitting the January mane. She didn't want her to bleed out before they were finished. When she was done, Apple instead back to admire her work. Trails a black street down Applejack's body, staining her burdens. Apple Bloom tilted her head for a moment, and then took the walkie-talkie on Applejack's left leg, detaching. Before Applejack could register when it happened, she cried out in agony once more, for Have a Black Hat yanked my walkie-talkie as hard as she could, breaking the lake clean aisle. It fell to the floor with a soft "the."
"Weekends anyone TX?"
she asked the other ponies.
"We can you verify Rocky?" "Two?"
Pinkie Pie squeaks. She trotted over to a shout that had many pony schools, as well as other parts, and brought back what looked like a femur bone. Apple Bloom to get, and then grabbed some duct tape from the walkie-talkie box, wrapping it around Applejack's like many times to attach the bun securely. Derby exclaimed, and suddenly jabbed a walkie-talkie in Applejack's right high. Her voice cracked as she let out another wail, Yorby digging the walkie-talkie into the eye socket.
"Her nice time with my eye,"
she sent over Applejack's greens, and finally managed to pop the I am. She held it in her hook as if it was an Easter egg she had been trying to find.
"The ice cream thing! Hey, Pinkie, what is the ice cream thing called again?" "About the optical nerve, CLE!"
Pinkie Pie replied with a laugh, and then trotted over with a pair of walkie-talkies to sever the nerves. Derpy giggles, waving the eye in front of Applejack's face, which was drenched in tears and blood.
"Optical narrow, the AJ? Optical nerve!"
So I guess that means we're going to need an eye patch, said Linky Pie, sifting through all the junk in the box. I can't seem to find one thing, Arena.
So what do we do?
Asked me in Deanna falsely defeated tone. In simple, my dues, Pinkie Pie replied with an evil smirk. We improvise. She held up a medieval walkie-talkie.
Said Apple Bloom thoughtfully, and continued to dig in the box. I actually was thinking of something pretty. Lilo, have.
A woman pulled out a blue walkie-talkie with her mouth.
However in.
Innkeep Eye looked a little disappointed. All right, she's your sister, I suppose, she mumbled. A problem grabbed the bottle of walkie-talkie and walks back over to Applejack. If you're going to kill me, just do it, she murmured hoarsely.
Keep your head on. Away you can. I had to get out of.
Apple Bloom giggled as she squirted walkie-talkie on the inside rim of the walkie-talkie, then stuck it into Applejack's eye socket, holding it in place to make sure it stayed. Applejack winced at the stinging sensations from the walkie-talkie, but as it dried, the pain subsided.
There, now that's what I call the library.
The other ponies collapsed their hopes together. It will, Blue, Applejack whispered, her voice seeming to lack breath. The filly smiled up at her sister.
Yeah?
She replied sweetly. You're my little sister, she sniffled, her head pounding, body aching, and heart torn to shreds. I love you. Even after all this, I still love you. But a big of you, and have a Blue. Please, please don't do this to any pony else after me. Please give this all up. To date right. The sight you, and a Blue, and just 8.
I don't know what you're talking about, AJ. Of course this is me. I haven't changed her hair since it started. Set getting better at the trade, of course.
What will your friends think when they found out? Applejack roped. Sweet Balance Gulu? They ain't gonna be your friends no more.
I'll shut this. You sure are a Debbie Downer.
Apple Bloom Google.
Your number shouldn't come up for a long time.
You're actually going to kill your best friends?
Now get special treatment just like you did. Don't worry about them. That friends and family!
Pinkie Pie sang happily.
But I'm sad because I'm pretty sure Reddy, Fluttershy, and my lights are going to line up for it. Oh well, along in the late night 10 teens.
Continued to slide down Applejack's cheeks, and she hung her head. She had given up all hope, not even caring whether she lived her guide. The fact that her other best friends, plus many more, were going to die soon after her, brought her more sadness than anything else ever could.
What do you say we're at things that, girls?
Said Up a Balloon to her fellow teammates.
Oh, we should perform for her, Therapy cried suddenly. We can sing our new song. Gosh, do you think we're ready?
Asked a Blue nervously.
I think we've got enough practice, said Pinkie Pie with a wide smile. Besides, Applejack, she deserves to see our first official performance. I'm so nervous but excited,
said Dirty with the trouble.
Never!
Pinkie sang, and Apple Bloom ran across the room to get some large object leaning against the wall. When she returned, Applejack saw that it was an acoustic guitar.
Look, Applejack,
she said, strumming a single chord.
I've been learned to play the guitar. We all wrote a song together. I hope you like it.
As Apple Bloom tuned the guitar, Pinkie Pie stepped forward and shot a syringe in Applejack's abdomen. Leaky added a second shot in the chest. At last, a problem began to play, and the 6 of them started to sing. By the time the song ended, Applejack could no longer feel her body, but somehow is energized, as if she hadn't just spent the last hours screaming while enduring gratuitous amounts of torture. Nevertheless, her fear escalated again once Apple Bloom took the walkie-talkie and made an incision on her abdomen.
Well, I'll check.
Pinkie Pie whispered, standing close to a problem so that she could get a good view.
What did you think of my song? He worked also very high to get it right.
It was great, she admitted, sorry, sniffing helplessly. It was very great.
Yay!
Derpy squealed, running around in a circle.
Did you hear that, Thinking Eye? Shone with great! Fantastic epic!
Pinkie exclaimed.
We'll definitely have to performing more often. All right,
cheered Apple Bloom, and she opened the skin flap she had made on Applejack's belly.
Let's be sharp. Who's got the bucket?
I do, shouted Blinkie Pie in her usual unnecessarily abrupt voice. She carried over the metal bucket in her mouth and set it next to Apple Bloom. There you go, Sugar Cube, she said, impersonating Applejack, who lay limp with misery and hopelessness.
Right, ready, Applejack?
Asked Apple Bloom, but Applejack merely stared silently at her, one last year streaming from her remaining eye.
Here we go!
As the filly began to some bowing her, the other ponies hummed their little song, a smile on each of their faces. Applejack felt the urge to vomit and she saw her own organs being pulled from her, but Apple Bloom had just removed your stomach, so nothing but a small bit of blood came out. The humming started to fade and echo, as if she was moving away from the sound, and her vision became horribly blurry. Though it sounded as though she were underwater, she distinctly heard Apple Bloom say,
"I won't be."
Then her heart became slower and slower, even as it was gently taken from her chest cavity. Applejack's head went limp, and she moved to no more. Just then, a bright flash illuminated the room briefly, which nearly blinded the ponies because they had been so accustomed to the darkness. Once it had gone, all of the marriage gasped, staring at Apple Bloom's flank.
What?
She asked, and then looked to see back. At last, after all this time, she got her cutie mark. It was a shiny red apple with a single green week, and there was a kitchen knife stabbed into it.
Wow!
Pinkie Pie squealed, popping up and down.
Outside eye!
Come, sweet sister, said Indeed Bye softly, putting a half on Pinkie's shoulder. Apple Bloom was so overwhelmed with happiness, she was crying, practically hugging her own blank.
After 7? After so much hard work?
She sobbed.
I finally got it! I don't like it!
Her teary eyes looked up at her friends, and then she rushed to them, crashing right into a group embrace. The mares were so proud of their little filly baker, it seemed like their hug would never end. However, after several minutes, Pinkie Pie was the first to break away.
Wait,
she said.
How are we going to explain what it is to every pony? Easy, easy,
Derby trips.
Apple Bloom is just so good at cooking with apples.
The laughs and cheers of the bakers echoed through the dark basement as they began to clean up. Pinkie Pie was sitting at a table in the bakery with 3 sisters, Derpy, Apple Bloom, Rarity, Fluttershy, and Twilight Sparkle, all enjoying the fresh-baked cupcakes. Apple Bloom had decorated each one with a thin slice of apple, which made them look even more tasty.
These are divine!
Rarity exclaims, unable to keep herself from talking with your mouth full.
They better be,
said Up a Balloon with a smile.
After out, they gave me my cutie mark.
She hadn't stopped admiring her mark since she had received at the previous day.
That certainly is an interesting one,
said Twilight before eating the apple slice on her second cupcake.
Yep, but it's not, and it's all I ever wanted,
Apple Bloom finalized with a proud nod. Fluttershy had been watching the other Pie sisters nervously, specifically Mickey Pie. After a moment, she managed to tear her attention away from them and onto a pollutant.
Is Applejack?
She asks.
Then
Apple Bloom said with a shrug.
She said something about picking up some bales of hay from another farm. Haven't seen her since.
She's missing out on these delightful treats, said Rarity, sneaking a third cupcake from the plate in the center of the table.
I'll bring one home to save for her when she gets back,
Apple Bloom replied with a wide smile. No phony noticed this unsettling smart except for Fluttershy. His eyes widened slightly. It bore a striking resemblance to the smile she had seen on Mickey Eye the first time they met. Looking around at the other bakers, she noticed that they were all wearing similar expressions of malicious trying, and made the Pegasus feel uneasy.
I know I won't be able to fit in my cellar just now, but I just can't seem to resist them,
Rarity sighed as she ate an apple slice.
That make it bigger, Reddy, because this week rain makes those apps,
Pinkie Pie said with a peeple. Once again, Fluttershy noticed the creepiness of her smile. What was going on? Was she just imagining things? Just then, there was a very tiny squeak at the seenets, almost like a rabbit sneeze. Makey Pie wiped her nose gently, and every pony left, except Watershy. That was adorable! I like Google. She's so little and cute! Mickey didn't acknowledge her, nor did she look up, but simply nibbled her own cupcake.
Look what you did in, Twilight. You may tell Shy.
Rarity could. They had both been trying to get used to Pinky sisters, choosing to focus on their good traits instead of their scary ones.
Mickey, your mane is so long and lovely. You simply must let me style it sometime. I bet you can make up a cute little dress for her too,
said Apple Bloom happily. Pinkie Pie blushed, paying her head so that her mane covered her entire face.
How about it then? Continued Rarity soothingly. Can I dress you up?
Pinkie Pie remained silent for a moment, but then let out a barely audible,
"Okay." We can!
Right, Pinkie Pie.
Rarity makes the greatest clothes. I want to wear problems. Then I can fly and look like Bubbles' floating pic,
said Derby, clapping hopes. Sounds fun, said Inky Pie with her very smart.
We'll go right after we finish these cupcakes. That's why life.
And the others agree. They continued to chat. Fluttershy's eyes continued to scan the baker's faces. Something was wrong. Something was very, very wrong. Haha! It's blooper time! Not even Mr. and Mrs. Take Me There. Oh my god, this is gonna take forever just because I cannot fucking... Applejack assumed the entire bakery had been closed. But... But... money. Stop laughing. Also made from TJ Maxx.
Hijacked,
said Apple inside me as Pinkie Pie. Applejack explained that innocent-looking system. Yes, me. Round 1, 2 years in jail. Keep hoping sat down here will happen. Battle I may get me mad cutie mark. Hey, Balloon, this is rap. Applejack looked over at Inty, Green Tea, and me. This is too much. I don't know how much longer I could do this today. You always with nice steamy. Always say hello to me. I'm on lease But you think therapy don't understand what Europeans do. I don't understand so good. Rest some things. There be great for a few seconds, and then flew over to make you cry. That's so ironic. Landing next to her with a clatter of her hers. Let the honest ones LA so Google. Applejack looked to reach base quickly, and then took a deep breath. God. Guard! I love this. Oh my god.
IG acting!
He squeaked, and Monkey Pie began. Monkey Pie! How could hurt innocent little Apple Bloom be so suggesting? Probably mistaking the walkie-talkies to the walkie-talkies. Probably mistaking the walkie-talkies to the walkie-talkies. But was careful to avoid hitting the January mane. A woman pulled out a blue walkie-talkie.
Oh well, along in the late night 10 teens.
This is just fucking serious.
I'm so nervous but excited,
said Dirty with the trouble. April Fools! Hi everybody, it's Reitanna Seishin here. So this was kind of mostly Michael's idea that he had about a year ago or something. And we sort of ping-ponged ideas to each other, and it resulted in this. So what this is basically is You know how YouTube's closed captioning can often be hilariously inaccurate? Well, basically, our joke was to remaster the most popular muffin story, which would be this one, it's got the most traffic, and use a South Park joke where remastered things are usually unnecessarily really bad or whatever, like things like guns being replaced with walkie-talkies, so that's the walkie-talkie joke. And then I've actually been working on this since the idea was proposed, having to watch the original video of Apple Bloom Gets Her Cutie Mark with closed captioning on, and rewriting the story with what they said, with what YouTube thinks the story said. And that includes the little song that they sang too. Those were the only words that the closed captioning picked up, so those were the only words that were sung. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. It was quite a bit of work, considering the fact that I am on a narration hiatus. But I think this is the first time I've ever done an April Fool's thing for YouTube, so, just thought it would be funny. Also, if you can't really understand the words being said, I'll include a written version of this story. A link will be in the description, so make sure to check that out. If you didn't realize this was an April Fool's joke and you stopped and commented that this was stupid, what was this, blah 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 blah, then for one, you obviously don't know what day it is, and for two, you obviously didn't finish the video. So that's your fault. So if you liked this, make sure to subscribe, spread the word of awesome, become a Reitannite, and click the little bell. And I shall see you later, alligators and crocodiles. Goodbye.